All right then. So now before jumping into the dashboard, I need to fix this header issue because when I scroll, I can't see the header and I need to bring the dashboard thing. Only if the user has been authenticated, I need to display that dashboard option, right? So, and that particular dashboard option needs to be displayed only if the authenticated user ID to my specific user ID. So all I have to do is to get into the users, and I need to make sure the user clerk ID, this particular ID. So I'm going to copy that ID, or I can say I can supply the email address as well as, but in this case I strongly prefer to use the ID itself because that is the admin ID. Only that particular ID can access that. So I'm going to stop the server and I'm going to open the environment variable, and right after here I'm just going to say hash admin ID and next underscore underscore public underscore admin underscore ID, which in case it's going to be this. So I'm going to save this and I'm going to run our server npm run dev. Then I'm going to close this, get back over here. All right. So now I'm going to close except all these things, close others. Then I'm going to open the header, and this is the header, right? So here, first, let's fix this scroll container. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to create a state, use state snippet, and which is going to be is scrolled, and I'm just going to say false. Okay, then I'm going to create an use effect hook, use an array dependency injection inside over here. I'm just going to say const handle y-axis scroll. It's going to be a function, an arrow function, and if the window, we are going to use the window instance of the JavaScript, if the window.scroll y-axis is greater than 50 pixels, I need to say set is scrolled as true. If not, else I'm gonna mark set is scrolled as false. So inside this condition, right after this function, I'm just going to say window.add event listener. I'm gonna add the event listener as a scroll. Then I'm gonna call this handle y scroll function. Then right after here, I need to clean up this event, otherwise it will cause a mess. So return an arrow function. I'm going to say window dot remove event listener of the scroll with the same function handle y-axis scroll. So this will clean up that specific event, right? So if it is scrolling, I'm gonna copy this normal function, copy this basic styles. I'm gonna use the cn function. Then I'm gonna give the basic style. Then if it is scrolled, in that situation, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say bg needs to be white color and the shadow needs to be a little bit. Otherwise, I'm gonna say bg as a transparent one. So save these changes. Now if I scroll it, I need to fix the position, right? It needs to be fixed and it should be on the top of everything. Then it's need to fixed on top and left 0. Yep, now we can see only if it is scrolling, it will be fixed on the top. And the transitions needs to be smoother. So transition for all, duration needs to be 150. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we fix that, and now we need to fix the sections. So for the banner section, that's the section home. So ID, which is going to be home. So let me open the nav bar, helper. This is the home route. Okay, so for this, I don't need to supply anything. Okay, so close this. But for about, I need to supply the button section, our services. Y chooses that is going to be our about section. ID, which is going to be about. Then services, then I need to get into our services. I just need to say ID, which is going to be the services. Close this and close this, as well as close this. Get into the helpers. Then calculate, I need to get into the calculate the EMI. I need to open this IED, which is going to be the calculate. Close this. Then I need to get into the contact, go to our inquire now section. Then I just need to supply the ID, which is going to be the inquire now contact section. Now all I have to say, if I click about services, calculate, it has been navigating. Let me open the global.css. For the body, for the HTML and for the body tag, the scroll behavior needs to be smooth. So now if I click services, if I click calculate and home, about, services, calculate, contact, so everything will be scrolling smoothly as possible. Perfect. And now if I get into the header.ts and let me get into the profile container and let me get into the menu bar. So here I need to get into the nav bar links. So this is the place where we are bringing our links. So I need to access the user. So const is equals to use user, access it, and I need to get the is signed in. So right after here, I need to say if is signed in, okay, I need to then only I need to supply this nav menu link, which is going to use this, copy it, supply it. If it is equals to slash dashboard, then it should be like that. Then I need to supply the route instance, right? Okay, so now I need to supply the route. Basically for the route, it is going to be an object which needs the link, which is going to be the slash dashboard. Then it's need the label, which is going to be dashboard, right? And it's expecting one more, which is going to be is footer, save the changes. Perfectly fine. Okay, so I'm just going to keep this as a false. By default, the footer value is going to be false. It's saying is footer is missing, so I'm gonna make this value as an optional one so I can ignore that type error. All right, so that could be fine. Now if I click this dashboard, it's going to throw us an error. Yes, the reason is because we don't have the dashboard page. That's the reason. So of course we don't have it. So all we have to do is to fix that dashboard just by, I'm gonna close all, I'm gonna get into here and I'm going to say into the app, I'm going to create a new folder called dashboard. Then inside this, I'm gonna create a new layout.tsx, and I'm just going to say sfc, which is going to be dashboard layout, sorry. And inside here, I'm just going to get a division and I'm going to load the children, which is going to come from the prop. Basically we are going to have a children prop, which is the nothing but react dot react node itself, and inside this I'm gonna have the children. Save it. Now inside this I'm gonna have the group of routes, and inside here I'm going to have the page.tsx, which in case it's going to be the overview page. Overview, and I'm going to say div overview. Save it. Now we have that overview. Then I'm just going to say class name. Width, of course, it needs to be full, and the minimum height of course it's going to be 80 viewport height, just like that. Otherwise I'm gonna say 75. That would make more perfectly fine. Okay, then I think I need to wrap this stuff into a container, so all I have to simply say remove this, and I'm gonna change this into a container. Let's import this one. Oops, not Lucid React. It should be add components container. Now everything will be wrapped perfectly into that section. And I think we need to do the same stuff for the footer. Why it is, let's open the footer. Footer needs to be wrapped completely inside the container. So now that's how the footer it looks. Otherwise, what we can do is, okay, so let's wrap this entire division, cut this out, and I'm gonna simply say the container. I think better we can leave it, because this division, whatever the content which is coming inside this division, that needs to be wrapped in a container, right? Then it is, I think it's better to be wrap everything into a container. That should fix the issue. Yes. Yep, that's perfectly fine. Yes. And now let's get to the overview page. This is the page where we are going to display, where we are going to collect all the necessary users count, and the inquiries, total inquiries, and the total subscriptions list. We are going to display the counts, and we are going to have a dashboard navigation page where the user can switch between multiple pages in order to load them. Okay, and that's what we are going to do next.